And now for the complete press conference of Chasing Rainbows at the new 42nd Street. And first there were introductions by Marc, Hoebee, and Mike Stotts. And you'll see musical excerpts introduced by Denis Jones. I can only show 30 seconds in between, though. And then I had interviews with everyone involved. And these will be the musical excerpts that I will show you partly. You'll just have to be like me and go see it, which I'm going to see tonight, October 6th.
Everyone this afternoon. This is the beginning of my first full season at Paper Mill, and this is the beginning of our 81st season that will include 3 world premieres, obviously Chasing Rainbows, but we're looking forward to Unmasked, the music of Andrew Lloyd Webber, and The Wanderer, the story of Dion, DiMucci of Dion and the Belmonts. So it's a wonderful season that we're looking forward to, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future. But we are here for Chasing Rainbows and very excited to be working with this creative team on this wonderful project.
We're so excited to be presenting it in this anniversary year. It is the 50th anniversary, obviously, of Judy Garland's death and the 80th anniversary of The Wizard of Oz, so it could not be a more timely event. We are so grateful that this project has landed here on our stage, and we're incredibly grateful that the entire project is being led by my good friend, our director and choreographer, Mr. Denis.
We've had a very exciting 4 weeks here in the studio, and could not be more enthusiastic about sharing with you some excerpts from the show. The first song we want to do for you is comes in a scene very early in the play. You will meet Frank Gumm, who's played by Max von Essen, and his youngest daughter Frances, played by Sophie Knapp. This takes place in Antelope Valley, which is perhaps a location you're not familiar with. I was not. Until I worked on the play where we were finding the family. The Gumms are a family of performers who have moved from Grand Rapids to California in pursuit of their Hollywood dreams, but they've only made it as far as Antelope Valley, which is about 3 hours outside of Los Angeles. So they're close. Without any further ado, let me introduce you to some Gumms.
And always I'll go on adoring the glory and wonder of you. Always and always our love will go soaring to heaven far under the blue.
Here we are with
Sophie Knapp, Lyons, and Violet Tinnirello.
And what parts do you play?
I play Baby Gumm, or young Judy Garland. I play Virginia Gumm, and I understudy these two. I play Shirley Temple and ensemble.
Oh, so how long have you been taking tap and singing and all that?
So all 3 of us actually are in the same dance school, Shuffles. Yeah, and I've been taking tap since I was like 3.
And how old are you now?
I am 11.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you get to play 2 parts. That must be hard.
It's very hard, but most of the time I'm on stage with them, so it's just getting their movements and stuff. So like, say Shirley's on stage, I'm usually on stage with her, or say Baby's on stage, I'm usually on stage with her anyway. So I just have to learn their parts.
And what's it like playing this iconic Shirley Temple?
I mean, ever since I was like literally 3 years old, I've always loved Shirley Temple, Judy Garland, Elvis Presley, Judy, like literally all of them. Like I collect vintage hats and purses, and I have all these old books, and in my room there's a vintage chandelier. Like my mom calls me an old soul. I just always love that stuff. And it's funny because when I was 4 years old, before I was in Chasing Rainbows, my mom and dad took me to see Chasing Rainbows, and this is before this was like just when I started doing acting, but nothing to do with that. They just took me to see it at Goodspeed, just because I always loved this stuff, and I was like, I want to be her one day, and I'm in the show, which is just like mind-blowing.
So dreams came true for you too as a grown-up Judy Garland.
It's amazing. This show is like amazing, and it's such a dream to be in it again. even 3 years ago. Been in it for like 3 years. Yeah.
This has been going on for 3 years?
No, even more. It's just we started, we have been in it for like 3 years. And it's been for like so much more. Yeah.
My goodness! Wow, you guys are patient and persevere!
Yeah, it's really funny because me and Sophie have been best friends since we were 3 years old. So like it's funny because we both were at the callback together and we walked out and we're like, it would be so cool to be in this together, but it probably won't happen. And we're in it together. And actually said that. I remember those words. And then friend Molly came in this right now. Yeah. This year. Funny story actually. So I didn't even know there was a part for me, that there was a young Virginia Gumm. So I just thought I was too tall to be one of them. And they were having auditions for those two, and I was like, she used to be your size, but she grew. I used to be their size, but I grew a little bit.
I never grew.
So I'm like, I get an audition one day, and I'm like, wait, I'm too tall to be that. And then I look at the description, and there's young Virginia Gumm, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that existed. And after five callbacks, here I am.
So you really are like sisters.
Yeah, and the craziest thing that ever, because my first ever audition for this, like 2 years ago or something, was on my birthday, and there was a rainbow in the sky. And I was like, Mom, it's meant to be. Oh, well, yeah, the same day that I auditioned for Chasing Rainbows, I literally found rainbows everywhere, like everywhere in the sky. We were walking together, and we were like, rainbow, 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 rainbow. It was birthday, and it was on and they sung happy birthday to me in the audition room. And another funny thing was we all go to the same tap school and the same voice teacher. Yeah, and the same voice teacher. But our show that for our tap musical theater show we did was The Wizard of Oz. Oh yeah. Ended up we all did paper playhouses. The theme was No Place. Yeah, the theme was No Place Like Home, and we were Munchkins and we were like Emerald City cheerleaders. Yeah, it was so funny.
And you got to graduate, and now you get to do the...
Yeah, and then we're in the show. Toto, but yeah, Munchkins. Yes, and we're at the show.
I'm excited. Congratulations, and thank you.
I've been waiting so long for this to get on a stage. Yeah, I am beyond excited to go to Paper Mill Playhouse. I'm counting down the days. It's so cool. We always said that we always wanted this show to go to on a stage, and it was just so cool. And then the day I found out I got it, my mom picked me up from school and gave me a slice of cake, and it was rainbow. Yeah, my mom gave me a rainbow card, and she wrote congratulations on you are going to be in Chasing Rainbows at Paper Mill Playhouse. And I was screaming. I was so excited. And I'm just so happy that I could get to do the show with them. By the way, the cake, I improve it. It tasted good.
I bet it did. Well, thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
There.
Hi, I'm Colin Hanlon.
And you're playing the part of...
I'm playing Rodger Edens.
Rodger
Edens was the orchestrator and sort of best friend of Judy Garland, mentor, especially when her father passed away. He sort of became her best friend. I'm primarily at the end of Act 1, all throughout Act 2. So you didn't see me today. Yeah.
So, did you orchestrate Wizard of Oz?
He did not. You know what? I don't know the answer to that. I don't think he orchestrated The Wizard of Oz, but that was sort of he was sort of Judy's mentor and sort of helped discover her during that time and really fought for her to get the role of Judy in The Wizard of Oz. So that's sort of what his progression is.
So how did you get the part? And did you have to research who Rodger Edens was? Because now I'm going to go home and Google it.
I know, yes. I did a lot of research on Rodger Edens. It's fascinating because he was actually an openly gay man in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. Yes, which was not a common thing, and he would have gone, he was a very influential, very important person in the MGM sort of circuit. He was in charge of a bunch of movies and in charge of the whole music department. And to me, that's fascinating and amazing that he was able to do that. He would have gone further if his sexuality was accepted during that time, but that's not where the world was then. So there's only so much. I read
a bunch. I've asked our writer, Marc Acito, to give me, you know, his information on it, but that's the difficulty playing someone who's no longer alive, because it's not like you can really, you know, there aren't a lot of videos of him. He was in a few MGM movies and little snippets, but, you know, you sort of have to sort of go with your gut and hope you're, you know, giving respect to somebody who was influential.
So you can use your imagination then.
Yes.
You're not limited by, you know, a real thing.
That's actually very true. Yes. Yeah. So no one can be like, that's weird. He played Rodger so weird. And you're like, well, he's the only one who's playing him. So I guess that's, yeah. So it's good.
I mean, you get a really original part here, an original real person part, which is very unusual.
That's true. Yes. That's true. It's not like I'm playing a president that's still alive. So.
And also, I mean, the fact that he was so brave that he did that. I mean, I wonder what kind of, that shows the kind of guy he was, that he's like, I don't care, I'm me, I'm not hiding.
Yeah, no, very true. No, it's really...
It was illegal back then too, wasn't it?
Yes, very much, yes. I mean, I think if he was in any other business, he probably wouldn't be able to be out, but, you know, from the research I've read and from Marc Acito, the writer, has told me, yeah, he was very much living his life and lived with a man and did his thing, and he was respected because he was such an unbelievable piano player and orchestrator and musical director. So he was kind of he was sort of the music behind MGM for many.
I see another show here.
I know, right? Sure. Yeah, Paper Mill 2020. Yeah.
Congratulations, good luck. It looks fantastic.
It was nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you too.
Ethel, the girl's mom, brings the girls to LA and enrolls them in a school called Lawlor's Academy, which was a very famous school for young performing artists, for young actors. Many famous Hollywood actors came out of that program, including a gentleman who Frances meets on her first day at school, who would later become Rooney. Not to, you know, to reveal secrets, but yes, played by the amazing Michael Wartella. We also had the great pleasure of having Lawlor played by Miss Karen Mason. Without further ado, this is All Ma's Children.
So, Frances, what do you do?
Me? I sing.
Oh, you like jazz?
I love jazz.
Good, then you'll fit right in. Well, everybody around here thinks swing. Or else we'd be singing the blues.
You would?
I got a frown. You got a frown.
All my children got a frown on their face.
Take a chance on a cloud. A song and a dance, turn it upside down.
Acito. I am the book writer of Chasing Rainbows, The Road to Oz.
Oh my gosh, what made you, I mean, how did you come up with this? It's such a brilliant idea and it's such great timing.
Thank you so much for thinking it's a brilliant idea. I'll accept that. It was brought to me by Tina Marie Casamento, who is our conceiving producer, and I was put in touch with her back in 2012, and no, what year is this? 6 years ago for this, 2013. And it turns out that the two of us share an interpretation of The Wizard of Oz, and particularly the idea of going over the rainbow as being a metaphor for going to heaven and for dealing with loss. And we both had childhood losses that we looked to the film as a way to be able to process that. And I had never met anybody who had had that same orientation towards the story. So it was an instant match that I understood how it is that she wanted to tell this story using the songs associated with Judy Garland, including the entire score of The Wizard of Oz, which we do use in the show.
I noticed you even use the incidental music music that normally nobody thinks about.
Absolutely.
You know, the closer.
Absolutely. The moment, right, you're out of the woods, you're out of the, etc. That's the optimistic voices for Emerald City that we use when Judy arrives at MGM, for instance. But the songs, like the movie Rocket Man, we repurpose the songs to be able to tell her story through other characters. So, for instance, Frank and Ethel Gumm, who are Judy's parents, they sing You Made Me Love You as a way of being able to explore the trouble in their marriage that gave birth to Judy's need to get that contract because she was trying to save her family.
And it's also puts it in a completely different light, because You Made Me Love You, we think of a lovesick person writing to Clark Gable, not a marriage in trouble. Exactly.
These songs are really subject to so much interpretation, and we have some really great surprises that I think will really delight the audience, because like I said, we use songs that are very familiar to people, but they twist in a new way that I think will surprise people enormously.
And add it to Dennis Jones' choreography, it's like, please, I'm over the rainbow.
Oh, the thing about Denis that I love, among many things, is his ability to work within the idiom of the time period, but he literally puts a twist on things. So you'll see that it doesn't just look like an old-fashioned MGM film. It evokes it, but there's always a modern twist, and that's exactly what we've been trying to do with the story, with the score, with the story, is to find ways in which they feels relevant and feels like it speaks to us today by taking this, working within the idiom of Hollywood, but giving it a new, fresh twist. I think that's why Liza Minnelli and the rest of the family have sanctioned the piece, where they've never sanctioned anything before.
And how perfect timing with the Judy Garland bio coming out right now.
Absolutely. I'm very excited to see that bio. And I'm especially happy that we are a counterweight to that particular story, because they're dealing with Judy at the very end of her life in the final year, which, you know, is the thing I can tell you as a writer is that we tend to judge a story by how it ends, not by how it begins. And in the case of Judy, because her story ended so tragically, it colors the way we look at her life. But what we forget is the incredible ebullience and life force that actually animated her to last as long as she did, given the difficulties that she had to encounter. And that's the part of the life that we're really celebrating. We're celebrating that, I don't want to say indomitable life force, because eventually that life force was snuffed out too early. But it meant so much to so many people, myself included, in a very deep and meaningful way, that that part of the story gets lost, and we really want to explore that part of the story.
Well, not just friends of Judy are going to like this one. It's going to be fantastic.
Do you know, we had someone from China see the show, and I said to her afterwards, I said, had you ever seen The Wizard of Oz or heard of Judy Garland? And she said, no. And I said, well then, what did you think? How did you like it? I said, because certainly, I guess, could you relate to her as a teenage girl? And she said, I think everybody can relate to this because everybody has a dream. So I think, yeah, whether you know Judy Garland from, whatever way you encounter her, I feel like the story is offered up in a way that's fresh and new and different.
And the beauty is, I just heard the little girls, and their dreams came true being in it.
I'm so sorry, I didn't catch the question.
I was trying the little girls in it, and it was their dreams come true to actually be in the show. I mean, this kid loves Shirley Temple and worships Shirley Temple and gets to be Shirley Temple. So this dream that shows real people in the cast with their dreams coming true.
Absolutely, and actually Ruby Rakos, who is our Judy, who's been with us since the beginning, Tina Marie discovered her at 16. So her offstage life has really mirrored her onstage life, which is, again, the point of the story, is the relationship between real life, R-E-A-L, and real life, R-E-E-L. R-E-E-L, yes. So I just want to make sure I didn't put an extra E in there. So we've had these amazing residences as well, not to mention Judy's mentors in Judy's life who were gay men who identified with her, which is very much for me and for Denis, a way in which that we interact with this story as well. So there's a lot of parallels between the offstage story and the onstage story.
Well, it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to see it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your interest. I so appreciate it. Thanks for supporting us.
Cool. Here we are with
Mike Wartella.
and you get to play.
I'm playing Mickey Rooney this time around. It's crazy. Oh, me too, honestly. I mean, yeah, of course I had heard of him as a kid, and I knew some of his movies growing up. I didn't know nearly enough about him, and not as much as I know now. But I knew that we were similar, and I knew that we were going to be a good fit for each other. And so I'm so thrilled to get to play him every day. It's such a joy coming to work.
And he's such a dynamo because he could sing, act, and dance.
Yeah, the thing about him, I feel like, is he just was fearless. He would do anything, and he would do it 110%, you know? And so that's the trick, is like, you know, if he was a little, you know, under in terms of dancing, or if he was a little under over here, he just didn't care. He overcommitted, and that's been really the fun kind of journey with him.
And also, he knows how to bring a tear to a person's eye. He always knows how to, he knows how to manipulate emotion.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I mean, he was an incredible actor, like truly, truly incredible. And I think, similar to Judy, what makes that happen, in my opinion, is that they had sort of rough moments in their childhood, and they grew up early, and they knew about life early, so they were able to really tap into the truth of, you know, the human experience, I guess. But pretty crazy.
And it's nice how they met, like, in the classroom and stuff, so they could become instant friends.
I know, yeah, they started becoming friends early, and, you know, as most of us know, had this lifelong friendship, and very brother-sister, and, you know, became chosen family. It's really, really quite sweet.
And did you do research and stuff about Mickey Rooney and like tapping? I mean, did you like study the way he taps? Do you try to tap like him, or do you just put your own spin on it?
Well, a little bit of everything. I certainly have done some research. I mean, I've read a lot of books, a lot that he's written, a lot that people have written about him. I've seen a lot of videos, and, you know, I think for me the important thing was to just try to get the essence of him. I knew I wasn't going to be able to impersonate him perfectly or dance or look exactly like him, but I knew that if I could get the energy right and some of the line deliveries and, you know, that sort of what you talked about, being a dynamo, you know, that sort of like hot fire, that it should then work itself out. So, and for me, I mean, I'm not actually much of a tapper, believe it or
not. You fooled me.
I'm glad I did. I had a little in college, and I'm dusting off the old chops, and it's been Denis and the team that have really whipped me into shape.
Because Denis really,
Denis is incredible. Working with him has been such a joy on this thing. He's done one or two of the other productions as well, and he's just the right person to helm this thing. It's great. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. It's going to be a great show.
Thank you so much. Great to talk to you.
Rosa.
And you play
Hoebee in Chasing Rainbows.
You're kind of the bad guy because you get her hooked on drugs. Do we even see that?
Wait a minute. You have to see the show because I do not personally. All the things you think you know about Judy, you don't really know about Judy. So there is a whole, that's what I think is so exciting about the show, is that it reveals all these parts of her childhood, especially her relationship to her dad, her mom, meeting Mickey Rooney, yes, Hoebee, how he grew to love her, this woman, Koverman, who made sure she didn't get pushed to the back of the room just because she didn't look like Lana Turner or Deanna Durbin, and then spoiler alert, she gets the Wizard of Oz. But it wasn't as simple as we think. It was a very bumpy ride. The making of the movie was a very bumpy ride. That's only a quarter of our show, and yet all these details that I never knew about what happened in making The Wizard of Oz and how it almost didn't happen in many different incarnations makes this story so interesting and fun. And I think it's about a young girl with a dream, and who has all this talent and love, and no matter how many hardships she comes through, and that's why we all love her so much. But what I love about it is it's a big, old MGM musical. And I personally love the MGM musicals so much, right? And Denis Jones, I can't say enough great things about him. We know he's a great choreographer. We've all seen his work, but at the same time, he is a great storyteller. He is a smart, great director, and they've put together, I think, a really exciting group of people to tell this amazing story.
So we're behind the curtain.
Yes, that's exactly right. You're behind the curtain. And what you think you know, you don't know. Louis B. Mayer, don't knock me till you try me. And Max von Essen as Judy's father, come on.
So good.
Look how gorgeous. Just for the face alone is worth the ticket price, for God's sake. What else can I tell you? I don't even know. Ask me something. I'm trying to think. Oh, and there are children. Gorgeous little children in this play. Shirley Temple makes an appearance in a spectacular way, and so and Lesli Margherita as Judy's mom. So I really love being part of this company, and like I said, it's an MGM musical in a modern telling with a modern story. So I think people are gonna like it.
I cannot wait.
What we come to learn in the play is the reason that Ethel and her 3 daughters relocated to Los Angeles while Frank stayed back in Antelope Valley was a little more complicated actually than their pursuit of Hollywood dreams. We are delighted that Lesli Margherita is playing the role of Ethel Gumm. Catching the couple in a sort of a moment of some marital strife and conflict. We have You Made Me Love You.
Once I used to laugh with you, but now I'm crying, no use denying. I don't know what to do.
Von Essen.
And you get to play Judy's daddy.
Yes, I do. Yeah, Frank Gumm.
Oh my God, that song we got to see where she comes from little girl to the big girl. I was crying. You hear me sniffling in the background.
It's so sweet, isn't it? And it's like some of these songs, I'm like, who wrote that? Who wrote that? And then I started realizing that all these songs are from that era, and they got the rights to all these gorgeous old songs and wove them into the storyline so beautifully. I love that sequence and of course, you got to come see the show where, there's this big transition, and I won't give it away, but like where, we go from younger Judy to older Judy, and it's just gorgeous.
So, what's it like playing the dad of an icon who is not an icon yet? She's just your little girl. You had no idea what she was going to turn into.
No, I mean, they're just a family with their own challenges and their own dreams, and I want people to come see the show and realize, Frank has his own complexities and his own demons, and has had a very tough life, but is an incredible dad and just such a loving father, and so close with Judy and Francis, or his namesake. And it's just so fun to explore that, because for the beginning of the show, they're just a family, traveling around and close and joking around with each other, and they've got these dreams, and they're all kind of like setting their sights on Judy to become this big star. But they're just a family, and it's great to see this love story amongst all of them.
We really don't know too much about Judy's father.
No, we don't. I knew some basic things, but there isn't much. So it's nice to kind of like see this period of her life depicted and get to play. I actually ran into Lorna Luft a few weeks ago, and she was like, "Hey, you're playing my grandfather." So she's gonna come see the show, and I know her. She's a friend of mine, and I used to tour with Liza Minnelli. So I've always felt this incredible well, I've always felt a connection with Judy Garland. But then even in my adulthood, I had an actual connection. I feel like I know her in a sense, because when you know someone friend's child, you then know the parent, you know what I mean? Liza and Lorna have so many elements of them, you know, their DNA is passed along, so you can't hide it. You have these moments where you go, oh my gosh, that reminds me of movies I saw of Judy, and so it's cool to just have these connections and then get to explore this on stage and to play this actual guy.
You know, she's probably such a good mother because she had such a great father.
Who say that again?
She was probably such a good mother because she had such a great father.
You know, yeah, probably. And for all like her challenges and all her struggles in life, I do believe that she was still probably a fantastic, loving mother that would have done anything for her kids. And I think that Frank Gumm was the same way. He had a lot of his own challenges and his own demons, but he was, and I'm certainly playing it that way, just like absolutely would die for his girls. Yeah.
We should all have a dad like you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Too bad you're not playing on Father's Day.
Oh, I know. Well, hopefully this show will have a life in many theaters, and we'll be playing on Father's Day someday somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm Lesli Margherita.
And you play
Ethel Gumm, Judy's mother.
Yeah, the mother of Judy.
The mother of Judy. The stage mother of Judy.
So what's it like giving birth to an icon?
It's been pretty great. No, it's been fascinating to kind of find out about Ethel. I didn't know much about her. I obviously knew about Judy and grew up loving Judy Garland and Liza, but I didn't know anything about Ethel or Frank or their kind of vaudevillian days. So that's been really fun to kind of research that as well.
I know, it's nice to hear the backstory of her, what made her become how she became.
And that's really what this story is what made her into the Dorothy that we all know in Wizard of Oz, what made her the journey that the family had to take in order for her to become a star. And so I really love that it's kind of like the first 15 years of her life. I think it's really special and not told often.
And I love the way they turned You Made Me Love You into a torch song.
I'm so lucky that I have that song, and it's heartbreaking. I love that song. So when I first heard the arrangement, I was over the moon that I get to sing that and sing it with Max von Essen, which is, he's the best. So I'm really lucky. I love it.
It's easy to love, to quote another song.
I mean, easy to love. He's gorgeous. What a great husband I got. So.
From Susical Little Mary Lou to Mrs. Gumm.
I know. From Cindy Lou, I know. I love to get to play kind of both sides, and Denis Jones is the one who lets me do that, and that's really exciting, and not a lot of people do. So yeah, crazy. I love to do both.
Yeah, nice to you a serious role for change, because you're always playing these wonderful comic characters that and here you get to make us cry for a change.
I love it. It's so nice and a lot easier. It's a lot easier, and I let the other people tap, and that's really nice to watch.
But we know you can tap.
Yeah, but it's nice to watch once in a while. It's been really fun.
Well, congratulations, and it looks like a fantastic.
Thank you. I can't wait for people to see it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Karen Mason.
And you get to play two parts.
I do. Yeah, I'm only getting paid once, though. Oh, well. I get to...
So tell us who you're playing.
I play Ma Lawlor, who ran the Hollywood Professional Children's School, and also Kay Koverman, who was Louis B. Mayer's executive secretary, and who was really kind of responsible, partially, for getting Judy Garland in front of L.B. Mayer's eyes. So she was important.
So how did your executive secretary get to meet Judy Garland to put her into L.B. Mayer's site?
She saw her according to this story, saw her at a Hollywood party. And Rodger Edens, who became Judy Garland's longtime music director and really was also responsible for bringing her in and making her into, the star. He helped her with her vocal, the phrasing and all of that, taught her so much. He introduced me. I saw her singing with him at a party and went, this girl has something very special and I need to do something about it. So that's kind of what happened. And so at that point, I just decided, Kay Koverman decided that this was something that Mayer needed to see, which is kind of great. I think she related to the realness of Judy Garland, you know, as a young girl who had this monstrous talent, but, you know, looked like probably more of a real person than a lot of other stars at MGM.
So, actually, both your characters were instrumental in Judy and molding her.
Right, right. Yeah, and you know, Lawlor, she was kind of a teacher. I don't think she was a real teacher. But she I don't know if Lawlor had much effect on her, except that during that time it was fortuitous that Judy Garland met Mickey Rooney. And so that kind of was a fateful meeting, which was great. I'll take credit for it. I'll take credit for it as Lawlor.
I wonder how Lawlor started the school and got to be in her position in the first place.
I couldn't find much information about Lawlor, but I know she did exist, and she did run the school. I think she actually probably created it. Somebody gave her money, or she saw a need, you know, and that's all I could garner about it.
She's very clever. She saw a niche and she filled it, so she was a smart lady.
Yeah. Well, I played two smart ladies. I think Koverman is probably, well, she's the more polished of the smart ladies. But yeah, they're big, strong presences.
Well, it looks fantastic, and congratulations.
Very much. I hope everybody comes, because it's a great show. Dennis Jones has done a phenomenal role in, you know, directing and choreographing. And our star, who's playing Judy Garland, Ruby Rakos, is, you won't be disappointed.
Weren't you in Wonderland? You were in the Alice in Wonderland, and now you're doing Wizard of Oz. Oh my God! I just made the connection. You're in these fantastical stories.
I know that. I guess I'm in fantastical stories. I guess I get cast in those.
I got a second, so I can down. Yes, by the end of the first act, Judy actually, who's now has become Judy Garland as opposed to Frances Gumm, finally achieves like a major milestone in her career, in that she is on by MGM. We end the first act with her getting the phone call and arriving at the gates of MGM, and we start the top of the second act with actually her going through the gates of MGM and for the first time experiencing what it means to be like, what it feels like to be on the other side of that barrier. Within this it's a little bit of a montage. There's some pieces of various numbers here. It's quite frankly, it was hard to figure out what to do for you. There's so many things that I love. So there's a couple of things in here, but also just for clarity's sake, Karen Mason will be back in the mix here, but she is no longer playing Lawlor. She's playing Kate Koverman, which she plays for the remainder of the play, and Kate Koverman was L.B. Mayer's executive assistant. A very powerful second in command, or first in command.
Step into the sun, step into the light. Keep straight ahead for the most glorious place on the face of the earth or the sky.
Here we are with
Ruby Rakos. I play Frances Gumm and Judy Garland in Chasing Rainbows, The Road to Oz.
Wow, what is it like when you found out you were going to be playing Judy Garland? Were you like terrified at first?
No, I wasn't terrified. I didn't actually know a lot about, you know, Judy Garland's early life before I started working on this show. So it was just a learning process, and I was just really excited to get to play this part and get to sing this music.
I guess it's good because not many people know the earlier version of her, so it's not like this like image that people have, so you can like run away with it.
Yeah, exactly. I think, everyone knows who Judy Garland is, but no one knows who Frances Gumm is, and she's just, this little girl who wants to keep her family together by doing what she loves, and I think, that's something a lot of people can relate to.
And everyone's talking about how Rodger Eden had was a mentor and everything. It's sort of like with Candor and Ebb to your daughter, the daughter Liza Minnelli.
Yeah, and and Rodger Edens, he wrote so many songs for Judy, and he worked with Ethel Merman on Broadway. Like that's so crazy that he made his way from Broadway to MGM and ended up, working with two of the, well-known like belters in musical theater. And
was she a belter back then? I mean, how did you, both you as yourself and as Frances Gumm, discover your voice?
Well, I've always been a belter, and actually what I've learned through working on Chasing Rainbows and singing this music as Judy is that she's not so much a belter as like Ethel Merman. She has a lot more nuance and has more of what's called a mix. So I've had to sort of find my own mix in my voice to sort of find that like sweet spot in between.
And also, she really knows how to sell a song. So you get to sing all these songs that tell stories. So you really get to use your acting chops in singing.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's even, Over the Rainbow is so, the way she does it in the movie is so different from the way we do it in the show. And it's a completely different version of the song. And it's, I don't know if that made any sense, but.
I love how the music is used in a completely different light, and You Made Me Love You is now a torch song.
Yeah, exactly. Tina Marie and David have done an amazing job of adapting the music to telling Judy's story. It's beautiful.
So you must feel like really over the rainbow to be in this show.
Yes, I could not be happier to work on something so special and so close to my heart. I love it.
Well, it looks fantastic, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Here we are with
Dennis Jones.
Tina Marie Casamento.
So, tell me about this amazing collaboration. I mean, what a brilliant idea to bring this to us. And my God, who would think of having drumsticks on tapping? That was the most genius scene I've ever seen.
Nope. That's a Dennis Jones special that we're very proud of.
Yeah.
I think he was inspired by Mickey Rooney, who is known as the drummer boy. And then he got...
Rooney was an amazing drummer.
Yeah, he was an amazing drummer. And I was so excited when Dennis was like, I have an idea.
Yeah, because I always love a tap number. Never met a tap number I didn't like. But the fact that Mickey Rooney actually was a drummer, and it's so like lovingly portrayed by Michael Wartella in the show. He plays Mickey, and Michael Wartella is also a drummer. I was like, oh well, let's try to drum on a tap shoe, and then I can have all of my dreams come true. And that's what resulted in the All Us Children number. But it's just in general, like the opportunity to work on a musical that explores the early life and career of Judy Garland is an incredible gift. I mean, I've been a huge admirer of hers since like my earliest memories of seeing The Wizard of Oz on television, and then seeing most of her other films a number of times, because she has that thing where it's just like it's still breathtaking to watch her performances, because she actually just looks in the camera and tells the truth. Like in her words, in what she sings, you just feel like she is opening her heart to you. All of these performances felt so deeply truthful. So it's interesting to work on a musical that explores how that happened, how she came to be that person, and really like what were the obstacles in her way, which were almost insurmountable. Hollywood did not understand who she was, largely based on her appearance. I mean, it's terrible to talk about, and it's something that our modern culture continues to sort of grapple with, is how largely young women are assessed by what they look like. And for someone like Judy Garland, who is this like supernova of talent, to feel trapped within this exterior was a tremendous challenge for her, but she broke through. I mean, that's what's so beautiful about it, is it's like a triumphant story. She got to the other side of the MGM gates and created some of the greatest cinema roles of all time. So I'm just, it's because of Tina Marie that I'm here. Like that's the reason that I'm involved in it, and I just want to express my enormous gratitude. I mean, it's really exciting.
I'm very lucky to have Denis on board, and I'm lucky too that my husband, David Libby, is an incredible jazz musician, and I knew was going to be the perfect person to create the music for this show and take a lot of this music and turn it into something theatrical and something with pizzazz, and he and Denis worked very closely in developing how the music would support the story.
Yeah, because it's really like, I mean, they've done such a beautiful and very like fascinating job of adapting music that is largely from her early catalog and music of the time. Some of it which is sort of served up as you would think of it in this kind of swing idiom, and then much of it has been reimagined in sort of a modern kind of contemporary musical theater sound. So there are some classic tunes that are actually delivered to the audience in a very new and surprising and I believe compelling way. This is a cool show.
But what gave you the epiphany moment in the first place to even come up with this brilliant idea? Because nobody knows early Judy Garland. We don't even think about it. So it needed to be told, and you thought of it.
Yeah, it's exactly what I thought. Is I can't believe somebody hasn't done this already. But it honestly started when I was just a 7-year-old watching The Wizard of Oz, and I fell in love with Dorothy Gale. And I thought, why does she live on a farm with her Auntie Em and her Uncle Henry? Where are her parents? And then she sang Over the Rainbow, and I was struck very deeply by, well, I think I know where her parents are, because I had lost my mother at a very young age, and so I was very connected with that whole idea. I lived with aunts and uncles. I really experienced that. So then as a teenager, when I fell in love with musical theater, I wanted to study the actress that played Dorothy, and I read the biography, and I never wanted to read past Meet Me in St. Louis. Once I read the whole biography, I would read it again and stop at Meet Me in St. Louis and go back to the beginning because I thought her story was so incredible. And Judy said, the history of my life is in my songs. And I thought, this has got to be a musical. I can't wait till somebody does it, and then nobody did. Fast forward all these years, I found myself in a very serendipitous situation where I could pitch the idea to the music publishing company, who gave me the rights to all of this amazing music. And we started with the lyrics. We started with like, what lyrics tell the story. And you know, some of the songs were new to me, and I discovered them, and we kept within the very time frame that we're telling the story, and using the music to tell the story just like Judy suggested. I listened to Judy.
Yeah, it was Judy's decision.
Judy's idea.
Well, it sounds like, how long did it take for this to all to come to fruition?
Well, I first pitched it, I want to say like 8 or 9 years ago, and it took a while to get the lawyers and get the team. But in 2014, when Marc Acito came on board, we started doing workshops and presentations of it. So, it's now been, 5 years or 6 years since Marc has been involved, and we've been sort of developing along the way and making sure that we had all the right elements together. Denis Jones has been with us for a couple of years, and he has been a magical addition and a magical element to our journey.
You were like the missing piece to put it all together and make it pop.
Okay, well, great. I'm the newest family member, newest to Chasing Rainbows family member, and it is a family I'm very happy to be a part of.
Well, congratulations. It looks so wonderful. I can't wait. Everyone should come to New Jersey to see them.
Thank you. We hope you come.
We'll see you out there for sure.
Absolutely.
It's nice to see you.
Thank you so much.